Every interesting story needs some kind of conflict, and in video games this is usually caused by some psycho trying to rule the world. Your main objective is to stop the villain and prevent this disaster. But sometimes, you can't help but look at a villain and think, wow, what a badass! So here are my favorite villains in gaming. Just like the main characters, a villain always has a goal they want to accomplish, usually somewhere in the vein of world domination, but sometimes we encounter a bad guy who wants nothing more than to save the world. Artorias Colbrand trained under the leader of the Exorcists, King Claude Asgard, as his future successor. Some conflict in Loringen resulted in the death of King Claudin, and Artorias felt that he was to blame for this. Thus, he embarked on a journey to tell people about Molochs, demons, and Empyreans, which eventually led him to Eastgand and the small town of Abal. Here, he would go on to meet his future wife Celica Crow and her two siblings Laphicet and Velvet. Unfortunately, during a Scarlet Night, Celica and Artorias' yet unborn child were both killed.
Arthur!
Celica!
From this point forward, Artorias swore to rid this world of malevolence. Later, on another Scarlet Night, Artorias sacrificed Laphicet under the guise of saving the world. Velvet tries to stop him, but she's powerless, and Artorias locks her up on the prison island Titania. Artorias now goes on to create the Abbey, a group of exorcists led by Artorias himself, with their only goal being saving the world no matter what.
With the blessings of the Empyrean Innominat, I will guide you to a world without calamity. And this world's suffering will be nothing but a distant memory!
One quality that makes villains even more terrifying is unpredictability. A quality possessed by a psychopath in spades. You never know what they're going to do. What's even more scary is when these people also possess some kind of supernatural power, like the power to trap someone in a TV. Toru Adachi, a police detective working in the country town of Inaba. When Adachi was younger, his parents only cared about his grades in school and thus didn't allow him to have many friends. Even graduating at the top of his class in the police academy, Adachi believed that he was entitled to a successful life. But instead, he gets sent to a quiet countryside town. Eventually, he grew bored of this life and discovering that he had the power to trap people inside of the TV world. It didn't take him long to start torturing people like this for his own enjoyment, saying that he was merely saving humanity from the boredom of life.
Get on your knees and beg, and maybe I'll let you out.
Later on, however, he goes on to answer for his crimes and realizes that the way his life turned out was no one's fault but his own. He even admits that his friendship with his superior, Ryotaro Dojima, means a great deal to him. Final Fantasy games have always been known for being very story-driven, and usually they have a good cast of characters to accompany those stories. There's one entry in the Final Fantasy franchise that's usually under a lot of scrutiny. Final Fantasy XIII. You know, unlike a lot of people, I actually like the 13 trilogy, but that's a story for another time. What's important right now is that 13 brought about the coolest villain in Final Fantasy history, Kaya's Ballad. Caius is a warrior of the Farseer's tribe that worship the goddess Etro, led by the Cirrus Yule, who has the ability to see the future. Unfortunately, every time she receives a vision of the future, her lifespan is cut shorter and shorter, until eventually, she dies and reincarnates as a different Yule. After something's happened, Caius gets assigned to Yule as her guardian, and combines his own body with that of his Eidolon Bahamut, so that he can protect Yule. The goddess Etro decides to reward Caius' loyalty by giving him her heart, making him immortal, so that he can watch over the Cirrus until the end of time. Caius soon discovers this to be nothing more than a curse, Over the ages, he has to witness Yule die over and over again, until he eventually gets driven to insanity. He devises a plan to destroy the flow of time so that all the Yules could live without suffering forever.
I shall remember your pain. It will be carved in my heart, together with the memories of every other Yule, cursed to die this way.
While Toru Adachi can be pretty scary when he wants to, there's one thing holding him back. He's a normal human. Well, normal in a sense that he has the same vulnerabilities as a human, but there's one guy who has an ego as big as Adachi, and also has the power to back it up. One of the legendary 6 heroes that saved the world from the Black Beast, Yuki Terumi is a force to be reckoned with. A sadistic and ruthless killer, Terumi relishes in the suffering of others. After an examination of the gate went horribly wrong, Terumi's physical body was destroyed and only his spiritual body remained. He now turns to Kazuma, who would later on become his vessel. Kazuma, who's lost his memories, listens to what Terumi tells him about the Azure and goes in search of it, which eventually allows Terumi to fuse with Kazuma. A bunch of things happen and Terumi gets trapped inside of the boundary, where he plans his next move. Not only is he a physical powerhouse, he's also incredibly smart and an extremely powerful magic user. He feeds on the hatred of others, and he's even strong enough to resist fading from existence by managing to observe himself in a state of living. He's also known for his sick guitar skills.
Will you marry me?
Oh man, you are so gone! All right, fine. I accept your proposal.
Every villain on this list has something that sets them apart and makes them terrifying in their own right. Although, no villain possesses the power, cunning wits, and circumstances of a certain Keyblade Master. Master Xehanort grew up on the Destiny Islands where he received a visit from his future self, which eventually leads to the events that happen in the Kingdom Hearts series. He's a curious wielder of the Keyblade, and his only goal is to discover what lies beyond the fabled Keyblade War. To this end, he will make whatever sacrifices are necessary, such as destroying worlds to maintain the balance of light and dark. He would even sacrifice an old friend for the sake of furthering his goals. He's a very skilled wielder of the Keyblade, well versed in both magic and melee combat. Not to mention that he's also an unrivaled strategist, able to plan far ahead into the future. Combined with his ability to time travel makes his plans 100% fail-proof. Master Xehanort is the one guy you definitely don't want to mess with.
Let us finish this at the fated place, once your lights and my darknesses have joined together.
And there you have it, my list of the best villains in gaming. I'd love to hear who you guys would put on your list in the comments, but I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Peace!
あの時交わした言葉